So once you have your layer set up here, like I do on the right side, your layers might be here, here, wherever they are. Just make sure you have your layer and artboards. We're going to be working on this artboard now, and I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to get started. So first thing I want to do is make a square for the background. You'll all probably need to do this because there's a table, there's a plate, maybe there is wall, but I'm just using M shortcut. Sorry, my screen froze. And holding shift to make sure it's a square, and it'll tell you when you've made a square as big as the page. All right, so right now it's white fill and black outline. I'm going to just use my eyedropper, so a shortcut I, and just fill it with this kind of gray blue of this napkin. I can choose to add that napkin later if I want, but right now I just want to establish some of my layers. So I'm back to V, black arrow, and I notice that I actually drew this in cilantro. So I'm going to move that down, let's see, to background. Okay, so now I can go ahead and lock my background if I like. And now I'm gonna start doing plate. I noticed I accidentally moved my onions, so I'm going to go ahead and move them back. Now I'm going to start drawing my plate. Now for my plate, it's basically a circle, so I'm going to go ahead and do L for ellipse. The circle is bigger than it's going to default to whatever color you used last time. So right now it's that gray blue again. I'm just zooming out so I can see what's going on here. I can change it later, but I'm actually going to change it right now so I can tell what's going on. Okay, now I can see that it's kind of like, I can see a little bit of the bottom and a little bit of the top, something like this. So now I have my circle, and I think it might be a little too big, so if I want to keep this a perfect circle, I'm going to hold shift and bring it down a little. It does not have to be identical to your picture. You're just trying to make a new art inspired by excuse me, your picture. So I'm going to go ahead and do something like this. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Now you can see this part is blocking my, just a little bit bigger. So, this part is blocking my picture. So how do I get rid of that, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I notice I still have that old circle. I made a little circle. So just be aware of what's going on. If you look to your right, you should be able to see it. So I'm gonna delete that ellipse, and now I have this. Now I want this to be inside my square, so I'm going to make a clipping mask. How do you do that? You have two options. Either you can get rid of this circle altogether and use the shape builder to draw that square and delete all that, but I don't want to do all that, because in case I want to move my plate around, I want that circle to be available to me. So what I'm going to do is first change the color to this dark blue, and now I'm going to make another box on top. Okay, so whatever shape is on top. Now, do you see that I have my ellipse? And you're going to select both shapes, okay? Now you're going to right click and do make clipping mask. What that does is whatever shape is on top is going to cut the shape in the back, but it's actually not going to, and I notice it moved to onions again. Let me move that back. Okay. What this is allowing me to do is that the plate is still there, so I can actually adjust my plate, And I'm noticing that maybe I want to. I'm not really happy with how it's looking just yet. I think something like this is better. Okay, so here's my plate, here's my napkin. The clipping mask is a group. I'm going to show you on your right. So here's my square that is cutting my circle. The circles still exist, which allows me to move my plate around. Now, before I go too far, I may want to add a drop shadow and an inner shadow to the circle. So this is where we're going to talk about advanced effects and so on. You just want to be careful that the effect doesn't end up taking up too much attention away from illustration. So I'm gonna go here, effect, stylize, and drop shadow. Okay, so you can see, if I zoom in, you can see right here that there's a little bit of drop shadow, and you can set the angle. So if I was to go 100%, and it's kind of, you're telling them how big do you want the shadow to be. So 8 pixels. I want my shadow to be kind of light, just a hint that it's there. So I'll do 60%, and Y offset, we'll do that. Blur. So what part do you want it to be blurry? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and you can actually choose your color for your drop shadow too. I let it be black, but you can change it. So do you see now that my plate has a little bit of that drop shadow, and it looks a little bit dimensional. If I was to hit escape, you can see that that's what I'm trying to do right here. Now notice that this section is darker, so I can go back to my background, which is this, and simply draw, it's logged, M, draw a rectangle, and it's coloring it the same color as my background. I just want to make it a tinge darker since that bowl is blocking it and has a shadow, right? So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the color right there and take it down a notch. Now, if I was to zoom out, you can see it's starting to look, there's the light part, there's the dark part, and if I choose to do the napkin, I'm actually going to end up doing a lot going a lot darker. So here is my plate. Now on to the onions.